Euromaxx highlights. Coming up on the show, French connection. People dressed in white meet up for an impromptu picnic in Paris. Top talents. Leading cartoon artists meet up in the French town of Annecy. Sparkling affair. Bulgari celebrates 125 years of jewelry making. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karen Helmstedt.
Hello there and welcome to our highlights edition. And we start off with a tip for cyclists who are loath to sacrifice style for safety. Here in Germany, it's not mandatory to wear a bicycle helmet, although most people do insist their children wear one. Adults, however, are much less likely to set a good example. And this is largely due to the fact that most people consider classic bike helmets like this to be cumbersome and unsightly. But now a small company in Copenhagen has the solution.
Who needs a bicycle to wear hats and caps like these? But these were indeed designed as bicycle helmets. They've only been on the market for a year and already they're conquering the world. The small design company Yakai in Hellerup near Copenhagen spent 3 years working on the design before putting the stylish protective devices into production.
Well, we started up here in Denmark. But there's a lot of interest and has been a lot of interest for the Yakai helmet. So we are already being sold in 12 different countries. Every day we get customers that wants to buy our helmet from all over the world. And we have also won a design award, the EF Design Award 2009. And we're really proud about that because it's not common that a bike helmet win design award.
The next prize is on the horizon. Yakai has just been nominated for the 2010 German Design Prize, and now the second collection is ready to go. Yakai consists of 4 Danish merchants and 5 top designers. There are plenty of bicycle helmets on the market, but Yakai has a brilliant, simple and unique concept.
The special is that the concept is pretty unique, I think, because you have this basic helmet, and then you take a cover over the helmet, and just by changing the cover, you can have a completely new kind of helmet. For one day you want to be sporty, and the next day you want to be more classy, and just by changing the cover, you can get a completely new bike helmet.
Copenhagen is a city geared to cyclists. Tens of thousands of people can ride on perfect bike paths every day. But it's still safer to wear a helmet. Here, though, as in most of the rest of Europe, helmets are not mandatory, and most people think they're just plain ugly.
This type of customers is those who wouldn't buy a helmet unless you can have a designed helmet. So, yeah, that's the big difference. We have got a lot of new customers who is buying helmets because you can get a Yakai helmet.
A helmet isn't obligatory in Germany's capital Berlin either. Those who wear one look more like professional racers in the Tour de France. But now Yakais are available in Berlin with its 620 kilometers of bike paths. This Scandinavian design shop sells them, as do 5 other stores in Germany.
People here in Germany are really fixated on sport and leisure activities. And with the standard helmets, they look like warriors or insects or something. But not the people who buy our helmets. They also buy special bicycles, classic bikes, Dutch bikes or Danish bikes. And these helmets are just the thing. They look straightforward, like perfectly normal clothing. So you're wearing everyday clothes and still have protection for your head.
The basic Yakai helmet costs about €69. A cover costs another €39, and the helmets come in 2 sizes, medium and large.
Yeah, it has been a really fantastic year. And I can only see it Yakai grow, and we just started, so it's really amazing, but it's nice.
Yakai, brainwear for smart people, says the advertising. A bicycle helmet that not only protects, but also looks super cool.
And super cool is just one way to describe the scene last Thursday night in downtown Paris. The annual Dîner en Blanc happens in early June when thousands of well-connected Parisians gather for an impromptu picnic in a public place that's held under wraps until the very last minute. Well, guys bring the tables and the champers, ladies the food, and it's carte blanche for a good time.
Just around the corner from the Louvre in Paris is where you'll find Tiffaine Macré. This is a very special evening for her. Tiffaine is getting ready to join in the famed Dîner en Blanc, or dinner in white. Only the best tableware is good enough. Everything should be gleaming white. But most important of all is the outfit. It too must highlight the color of innocence.
Normally, when you go out, you spend hours searching for the right outfit. This time, it's all decided. I'll just wear white. Very chic, especially since it's not every day that you dress in white.
Only at the last minute does Tiffaine call her table mates to tell them exactly where the event is being held. Until then, everything's top secret. After all, picnicking by the thousands at a famous Paris location just isn't permitted. Tiffaine sets off with her partner. And then she tells him the picnic en masse is taking place tonight on the Place de la Concorde. The meeting point is the nearby Place de la Madeleine.
When several thousand people get together at exactly the same time on the same place, it's impossible for the police to expel them. That's why it's important that we meet nearby, to be at the site at the designated time, which is 9:39 p.m.
Then the big moment arrives. Time to head for the square. And in one stroke, the authorities are powerless. 8,000 people have invaded the square all at once. In less than 10 minutes, they've set up tables and chairs. It's an enchanted scene.
It's always a great scene here. The point is to spend a wonderful evening together while respecting the environment to show that everything's possible in Paris.
Even the passers-by think it's great.
It's beautiful, just beautiful. If I'd known and were dressed in white and invited, I'd join them right away. It's just great.
The tables are set. Anyone wanting to join must be officially invited by a participant. Here, you're supposed to be dining among friends.
This takes place only once a year, and we await the day anxiously each time. We joyfully dress all in white and then spend a lovely evening together.
As the evening progresses, the party heats up. The Dîner en Blanc have been taking place in Paris for the past 20 years. The identity of those pulling the strings is a secret known only by the initiated. Every year, it's a different famous place in Paris where, for a few hours, people can celebrate the French joie de vivre. The results are unforgettable.
You can feel the atmosphere. These evenings really have something magical. On what other occasion can you sit in the middle of Place de la Concorde eating and drinking with all your friends?
Tiffaine has been taking part in the Dîner en Blanc movement for 8 years, and she's convinced same time next year, different place for the most exciting picnic in Paris.
Well, not quite so groomed or pristine is our next subject. Struwwelpeter, or Shock-Headed Peter, as he's known in English, gives his name to the best-known German children's book in the world. It was first published in 1845, and as an illustrated book of cautionary tales about misbehaved kids, it was instrumental in scaring generations of children into behaving themselves. Well, it was written by Frankfurt doctor Heinrich Hoffmann, who was born 200 years ago last week, and Frankfurt has turned that occasion into a benchmark.
This German children's book made history. Meet Struwwelpeter, an unkempt young man who won't cut his hair or his fingernails. And maybe that's why he's become an immortal literary character.
The special thing about Struwwelpeter is that it's the first children's picture book in European history. By picture book, I mean a story that's told in text and pictures simultaneously.
That had never been done before. And Struwwelpeter, the book's opening story, is only one of its 10 short tales of disobedient children who are now known around the world. Take Suppenkasper, a little boy who refuses to eat his soup, all the way to the bitter end.
He remains totally stubborn, unbroken. And I think that stance of unbroken resistance fascinates children. Incidentally, one has to add that none of the children in Struwwelpeter accept any advice or learn a lesson or have a change of heart. They all just go under.
The city of Frankfurt is celebrating Struwwelpeter with commemorative plaques on public benches. Here, near the banks of the Main River, is where Struwwelpeter's creator, Heinrich Hoffmann, lived. His 200th birthday is being celebrated. Hoffmann was a doctor and father of 3. His second son, Karl, had just turned 3, and his dad was searching for a Christmas present. When he couldn't find anything he liked, he sat down with his sketchbook and got to work. Suddenly, the doctor was a children's book author. Struwwelpeter specialist Hans-Heino Evers believes Hoffmann's experience as a physician decisively influenced the book.
We know that he had a special method of quieting children down. He had a notebook in which he drew stick figures and made up amazing stories to go along with them. And it's interesting to see that he keenly observed what effects they had on the kids.
This year, Struwwelpeter and his success can be seen all over Frankfurt with numerous events and exhibitions. Like this one in the newly refurbished Struwwelpeter Museum. It's dedicated to Germany's most successful children's book ever. The legions of young fans have spread far beyond Germany. Struwwelpeter has been translated into 40 languages, from Japanese to Portuguese and Greek. It has sold around 30 million copies worldwide. In 1954, a movie was made from the stories in Struwwelpeter. And even today, the fascination with the sometimes morbid and brutal stories remains unbroken.
I think it's like when we adults read a crime novel. Some pretty gruesome things go on in our imaginations too, and I think it's similar with kids reading Struwwelpeter.
But the show also displays unknown sides of Hoffmann. Despite the fame he gained as an author, he remained a physician and became head of psychiatry in Frankfurt, commissioning a new hospital for the purpose. It was one of the biggest and most modern facilities of its time. Hoffmann displayed a keen eye for psychology in the stories, especially in Zappelphilipp, today a name given to any child in Germany who can't sit still.
I believe he had a remarkable gift for observing the way children are. And I think his gift would be called genius today.
Heinrich Hoffmann's Struwwelpeter, a book that children, even today, can learn from.
Well, children young and old appreciate the art of animation. And next up, we're off to Annecy in eastern France for the International Animated Film Festival. Now, this event has been taking place there for almost half a century, making it the oldest of all such festivals and probably the most prestigious. It's also been described as the Cannes of animation, even though its stars can't really strut the red carpet for real.
The French town of Annecy is nestled in the foothills of the Alps. For most of the year, it's a quiet little place, but every year it wakes up for one wild week in June. Some 7,000 visitors from all over the world are currently in town for the 33rd International Animation Film Festival. This year, films from Germany are the focus of the 6-day event.
There is a certain sensibility about German animation that's probably part of the historic, the culture in Germany, the identity, and of course the nature of the German people. To tell you the truth, I love Germany. I do love Germany, and I do love German animation. And I cannot tell you why, but why do you fall in love with this woman and not with this other?
Exhibitions strewn across town showcase work by German animation artists. The oldest piece on show is an original sketch by pioneering animator and film director Lotte Reininger, dating back to 1934. Another original, but this one's flesh and blood. 53-year-old Thomas Meyer-Hermann, in town for a retrospective of his work.
Obviously, it's a great feeling because it shows that your work is appreciated, your whole oeuvre. That's great, and it's even better if it happens before you die. It's nice if it happens while you're still going strong.
Meyer-Hermann's breakthrough came when his work featured in Tom Tykwer's hit movie Run Lola Run. With his company, Film Builder, he also works for commercials and music videos.
Come any closer and I'll eat it.
He's also done work for punk band Die Toten Hosen. The 53-year-old also made a children's series that stars a character called Tom, his alter ego.
As an animator, I have everything under control, unlike when you make real films. There are no problems with the weather or actors. So long as I do everything right, I can translate my vision directly onto the cinema or TV screen, just the way I imagined it.
Film Builder, based in Stuttgart, will be 20 years old this year. Even though he works on the computer a lot, Meyer-Hermann still does all his initial sketches by hand. He says he always wanted to be an animator and did his first experiments at his parents' kitchen table.
It's not that tough. Everyone can create animations. Whether they're good or not is another question, but the basic principles are very straightforward.
This year, Meyer-Hermann doesn't have a filming competition. He's just here to enjoy himself and see what others are up to. 500 films from 63 countries are showing, and many of them will be released in theatres.
Annecy is really a festival for industry insiders, but that doesn't mean the general public can't enjoy it too. Most of the films showing here are very accessible and fun, and there's a lot going on. In general, animation goes down well with audiences.
Next year, the Annecy Festival will be celebrating its 50th anniversary. But it better watch its back. This year, the opening film at the Cannes Film Festival was animated.
The name Bulgari is synonymous with luxury, the finest gems and timeless Italian elegance. And what started off as a single shop in the Italian capital Rome is today the third largest jewelry company in the world. 125 years later, Bulgari is still a family-run business with the founder's great-nephew Francesco Trapani running the show. We met up with him and checked out some of their greatest treasures.
Sophistication, extravagance, craftsmanship. Bulgari has long been a byword for luxury jewelry. Rome is currently hosting an exhibition of 500 pieces of Bulgari jewelry that charts the company's 125-year history.
My family has lived in this city for over 100 years. The history of Rome is what inspires us creatively. It inspires our international work. The Bulgari style always was and still is influenced by Roman architecture.
It all began with Sotirios Bulgari, a Greek silversmith who emigrated to Rome in 1881 to seek his fortune. 3 years later, he opened his own jewelry business. In the early 19th century, Bulgari opened a store in the Via Condotti, not far from the Spanish Steps. It's still the company's flagship store. Francesco Trapani drops by on a regular basis. The Bulgari CEO likes to greet special customers in person. He takes us past glass cabinets containing jewelry worth tens of thousands of euros to the nerve center of the store.
Of course, we've renovated extensively in recent years. But all the furnishings in the exhibition rooms are original. Only the back rooms are new. That's where the offices used to be. And these days, it's where we sell our jewelry.
This is where Bulgari's founding father once sorted precious gems. Today it houses the Bulgari collection's most valuable pieces: diamond necklaces, emeralds, and rubies. Prices start at 25,000 euros.
What we sell is more than just a piece of jewelry. We might sell magnificent gems, but we also sell dreams, the dreams that these gems represent.
Those dreams were also shared by Sophia Loren, for example, and Elizabeth Taylor, who only wore Bulgari. Richard Burton had to buy a lot of rocks to win her over. Emeralds were a particular favorite. Bulgari played a big role in the couple's famously turbulent relationship, as indeed it did in the history of European cinema. Bulgari bling was frequently spotted on the silver screen during the era of Fellini's La Dolce Vita and worn by iconic actresses such as Anna Magnani and Ingrid Bergman. Bulgari always was beloved by screen goddesses. Romy Schneider was another famous fan. Many pieces have a history. From a ruby-studded cigarette case given to Alain Delon on his 25th birthday, to this necklace with emeralds, amethyst, turquoise, and diamonds, which was a milestone in fashion.
Celebrity style has changed a lot, but Bulgari is still the jeweler of choice the world over. For film stars, captains of industry, and state presidents.
Fashions come and go, but Bulgari and Rome can still be relied on to make some dreams come true. For those who can afford it.
And don't forget, you can find some of those reports on YouTube. Just go to the site you see blended in on your screen. And with that, it's time for us to sign off. So until next time, tschüss and bye-bye.